Good morning, welcome back to my channel. My name's Leonie, aka Stitching Noni, and this is my little corner of YouTube. So this is my Flosstube channel where I document my journey with cross stitch. Today is Tuesday, the 31st of March 2026, and I'm here for a weekly update. So today's update will cover my progress from my last video on the 24th of March through to yesterday, Monday, the 30th of March 2026. And this is Flosstube number 82. So, here we go. Today is going to be a little bit of a mismatch of stuff. So I do have my progress. I want to very quickly run through the new whips for the temperature stitching. I have a new idea which I'm going to do, stitching games, and a bit of a brief run through for April plans. They're not all out, all the different group challenges that I do. So I will just do, it's got my coffee, I left it all the way over there. So I'll just do what's out, and then next week it'll be a full blown plans, because I'm still gelling over a few things about what I want to do. I want to try and change a few things about where and how I do some of the stuff, because I sometimes feel that I plan, I stitch, but they don't meet up. So I want to somehow work out how I can fit everything in. Now I don't think I could do this, but I love the Max Color Stitches idea where she does a wheel and does 500 stitches, and then when she's finished that 500 she'll work on a focus whip, and then Sunday she has her Into the Night Dragon Race, or Dragon Race Into the Night. I'd like to try and do something like that, but I don't know, because I do also want to still do all the challenges, and with doing a wheel of whips, you can't always guarantee you're going to get the whip you need for the challenge. So yeah, I'm trying to work a few things out. But let's just get on with that, and we'll just see how the flow goes as we get to the April plans. So what did I work on in the last 7 days? Well, as I mentioned, this is Flosstube 82, and this is my progress for 7 days from the 24th of March through to yesterday, the 30th of March. And I did a total of 4,274 stitches, and I worked on 9 projects. No new starts, no finishes. So reasonably happy with that. Now we still have one more day to go of stitching, which is today. I generally on Tuesdays when I record, I don't get a huge amount done. It just depends on how long it takes me to get the video edited. So we'll just have to wait and see what I get done today to get a full month of stitching up. But so far for March, I've done 17,400 stitches and worked on 19 projects, 3 new starts and 2 finishes, which you've seen previously. So 17,400 is now a record month for me. So I'm guessing I will get about maybe 200 or 300 today if I'm lucky. So yeah, so I'm very pleased with that. This is pretty awesome. So far this year, I've done 48,636 stitches and worked on 35 projects with 12 new starts and 8 finishes. So 48,000, nearly 49,000 in 3 months is like, wow. I looked back when I was looking at this the other day, because I was thinking, can I actually get to 50,000 for the end of the quarter? No, I didn't. There was no way I was going to do 2,000 in 2 days. But I was looking back, and I was could see that what I've done in 3 months is almost a year's worth of stitching back about 4 years ago. So stitching really is my life now, right? Yeah, I might be a bit loopy, but who cares? I don't care. Other people probably think I'm crazy, but I enjoy my stitching, and I'm going to continue to do this. Anyway, what are we going to have a look at? And so we're going to go for a frolic through the whips again. This is our weekly frolic through my whips, and we're going to look at the usual suspects first, and then we're going to go through some of the other stuff I looked at while I had things out for the week. So the first one I'm going to look at is I'm just going to move the table. I'm just going to move this. I've tried to sort of have things a little bit closer so I'm not reaching as much. So the first one I am going to talk about is the HAED Sale 2026 Fairytale by Dragon Muse, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. I started this on the 1st of January 2026 and I have a goal to get 6 pages finished on this year. It is stitched on 25 count easy guide 1/1 full cross, and the chart size is 225 wide by 394 high, which is a total of 88,650 stitches in this project. You saw it last week, and when you saw it last week, I had completed in total 12,721 stitches and I was sitting at 14.35%. I didn't have as good a week on it. I still stitched on it every single day, but I only got 790 stitches. So I really just averaged most days just over my 100 stitches for the day. I have done, however, 3,928 stitches so far for the month, which is beat my goal for the month because I generally try to do 3,729 to get my 6 pages. So at least I'm ahead, so I'm really pleased about that. And in total this year, I've now completed 13,511 stitches and I was sitting at 15.24%. So it is inching up. It is inching up. I've still got 30 odd thousand though to get my 6 pages, and I still haven't completed 1 page, but I am this close. So basically you'll see from the picture when I put it up, the before picture from last week, that I have been a bit all over the place again and mainly doing fill in as well. I think I did quite a bit in here actually. I'm going to pull it up because I've got to do that. And just put this down for a second while I get my picture up and don't knock my cup of coffee over. Yes, I did. I did do some more work in here. A little bit more work in here, and the rest of it has been fill in around here. So I am so close now to get this page finished. I've just got a little bit of fill in there and a little tiny bit up here, and we will have a page finish. And then the second page is basically here. So once I get this one done, I'm very, really won't have a lot to do to get a second page. And in fact, that's gone into page 3 a little bit, but I'm not going to stress over that because once I've got 2 pages, I'll move the Q-snap and we're going down to pages 4 and 5 next, so that I can do that'd be right, 4 and 5, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then it'll be 7 and 8 to get my 6 pages up. And then I'll come and do these smaller pages, partial pages, once I've got my 6 pages done. But yeah, so I've basically been doing what I've been doing, looking for what's in here that needs to be filled, and if it has multiple stitches somewhere else, I will do it. But I'm now at a point where there is really only a few in here that just need really a small 1 or 2 stitches, and then that's all I need on that thread. So I will try and get them done in the next week. In fact, I'm going to try and get it done today because I would really like to say I've got page 1 done within 3 months. Not really good, but but good. So that's where that's at. Still loving working on this. I am toying up whether in the latter part of the year I don't work on it every day. I'm not sure yet. We'll just see what happens. But there's other projects that I'd like to also make as a daily 100 or something. But yeah, we'll just see what happens. There's always things going on in my head, but it doesn't necessarily mean they come to fruition. My brain overthinks sometimes. Okay, so the next one I bought out this week, which I have also been trying to do 100 stitches a day on, which is not every day, unfortunately, and it didn't happen this week either, unfortunately. Poor little thing got a bit neglected. But this is the Story Keep Wine Shelf. It is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs, and the artist is Aimee Stewart. So it is a section of the larger wine shelf one. Started this on the 3rd of August 2024. It is stitched on 25 count easy guide 1/1 full cross with just the DMC. It's 112 wide by 329 high for a total of 36,848 stitches. And you last saw it last week, and when you saw it last week, it was sitting at 6,946 stitches for 18.85%. I only put in 217 stitches in the last 7 days, and that was for a challenge, which is why there's purple down here. So I did DMC 333 for my rainbow. No, it wasn't the rainbow. It was either the Whip, I can't remember. I think it was the Whip Warriors Lion versus Lambs week 4 challenge. And I've got to pull this out today. No, I don't, because I did green. That's okay. No, I don't. I don't need to pull this out today, but it will come back out, obviously, for April. This is now sitting at 2,779 stitches for the month, so I'm really pleased about that. And I didn't quite make my monthly goal on it because that is 2,828 stitches. So it may come out today just so I can achieve that goal. So far this year, I have done 4,255 stitches. This is my focus on a finish width for full coverage fanatics. So I said I would try and get this finished this year. So to finish it, I still need to do another 29,685 stitches. And I'm currently sitting at 7,163 stitches, or 19.44%. So yeah, so a little bit to go yet. Now, for my 217, I did basically 100 down here, and then I came up and did I do some more work in here? No, I didn't. I put some more, I don't know where I worked now. Can't remember. Can't even work it out from the picture. Bit of purple up there. So there's a bit more purple up there. But you'll see. I'll put the picture up anyway. So for 200 stitches, it wasn't a lot. I may have even done a little bit of fill-in in here. I'm not sure. So you can see I've got hanging threads still. I'm still working on getting those hanging threads out of the way. So when I bring it back, I need to fill in here. I need to bring this down so this is in line, fill that in, and then basically get all of this level so I can start moving down, because this is the edge. There's one row here to go down, one little column, sorry, to come down. And then that will be, so if I can square this off, it means I move the Q-snap and keep working down. So yes. So that's that one. Little way to go yet, unfortunately. Now, our other one that comes out every week that you see every single week, which I need to just move my boxes around a bit, is Flamingo in Flowers. Now, there it is. Flamingo in Flowers is charted by Stitches So Beautiful, and the artist is Eder Rosa. I started this on the 6th of June 2025, and I am stitching on this every single week. I'm just looking for, I sort of know what I did anyway, because I only stitched on this. I didn't stitch on it on Friday, unfortunately. I managed to stitch on it on Sunday though. So that way I got in the stitches I required for the Stitches So Beautiful monthly sale, which we'll talk about in a minute. So this is stitched on 25 count easy guide 1/1 full cross with DMC. It is 160 wide by 400 high for a total of 64,000 stitches. My goal for this year is to get 50,000 stitches on it. Sorry, 50%, which is 32,000 stitches. When you last saw it, last week, I was sitting at 13,019 stitches, and I just hit the 20%, so I was 20.34%. I put in another 270 stitches on Sunday. The month, so in total for the month, I've done 1,131 stitches, and I've done 3,836 for the month. So we are now sitting at 13,289 stitches, 20.76% in total on this project. And where did I work for my 270? In here. So I needed red for my Semi-Sane Stitches Rainbow and also the Whip Warriors Lions versus Lamb weekly challenge. So I did 817. So I got my 100 plus stitches of 817. And then I basically just did more fill in here with the orange for the Flamingo. And I did some 819, which you can hardly see because it's so tiny, so pale. And I think that was it. Don't think I did any other colours. I may have put some other stitches in for if I had something left. Now, the reason why I've started here is this is his beak in this space here. I don't know what to do because the beak, the majority of the beak is 939 and the background is 939. So the beak is going to get lost in the background and there's no definition. There's a little bit of a lighter 37.99 here. I think it's 37.99 just down like the edge of the beak. What I might try and do is just do a little screenshot so while I'm talking you'll see what I'm talking about. So the actual majority of the beak, which is here, is going to get lost because there's 939 all around it as the background. So what I thought I would do is I would do everything around here except for the 939, and then I'm going to think about it because it may be, I can't do 310 because that's too close to 939, but obviously it's a dark beak because they do have darker beaks. So I might just have a little think about it and maybe look at, once I've filled it in, is there anything that I can do to define that beak a little bit more? And then maybe I don't do it in 939 and I look at another colour. So yeah, it's a little bit, I just don't want to lose the definition of the beak, which in the mock-up, you lose the definition of the beak. You can see it in the picture, but you can't see it. There's so much in the mock-up. So that's why I've thought I would do a little bit around here and do that. But then I've also got to start bringing all of this down as well. But yeah. But I decided I wanted to do Flamingo for a bit. Now, I work on this every week. So my main goal is 250 stitches a week on it. And that is for the Stitches So Beautiful sale, which is a monthly sale that Stitches So Beautiful host on their business page. All you need to do is stitch on a Stitches So Beautiful chart 4 times in the month, or however many weeks, because so they'll give you, so sometimes if we got a 5-week month, then there'll be 5 times, but generally it's 4 times once a week. So you make sure you post your 250 stitches or 500 tent if you do tent by the deadline date that is specified in the post, and you also register for the sale via email and you will receive a chart. So every month they host this. Then I know there was a couple of months towards the end of the year they didn't host it, but every month they host this. So this is the whip I'm currently using for that sale. I do want to start a new Stitches So Beautiful chart soon, but I may still continue to use this for the sale because it does mean I get the work done, and I want to keep getting work done on this one, especially since I have a 50% goal for the year on it. So yeah, so that's my lovely little Flamingo. Now that's the next one. Yes, no. So the next one I pulled out, which is supposed to be a weekly stitch each week, doesn't always get unfortunately stitched on, but I'm trying to do this every Sunday. I actually did it Saturday and Sunday this week. No, sorry, Sunday and Monday. I've completely lost track of the weeks. So this is my portals, and it's going to be around the wrong way, and so I've got to turn around that way. So this is 6 portals. So this is the full 6 portals. It is, artist is Rose Catherine Khan and has been chartered by Paine Free Crafts. I started this on the 2nd of November 2025, and I'm stitching it on 32 count Easy Guide 1/1 full cross with DMC. This is my largest chart. This is what I call my retirement plan. It is 1,206 wide by 800 high, which gives you a total of 964,800 stitches. I'm not going to tell you how many remaining because there's a lot. So you saw this a couple of weeks ago, and at that point I had completed 7,223 stitches and I was sitting at 0.75%. This week I've put in 523 stitches and I'm now sitting at 1,044 for the month, which is great because I had a goal to do 1,000 on portal 4 for the month. And for the year I'm sitting at 3,900 stitches. So I won't tell you what my monthly goal is either because I'm not doing my monthly goal. I'm trying to actually do 1,000 stitches at least a month. I would like it to get it to 5% by the end of the year, but it's not going to happen. I've got some serious work to do if I'm going to do that. I've got to do at least 100 stitches a day on it, and it's not happening. So I'm currently sitting at, in total, stitched 7,746 stitches, or 0.80%. So I'm very, very close now to 1%. I've only got to do another couple of thousand stitches and we will have hit 1%. So that's really good. So what did I work on? Now, this is the tricky part with this because it is quite wide. I focused on portal 4 in, and I have to pull this out because of the roll, portal 4 in March. So my aim is to stitch on one portal each month. In November, between November and December, I worked across the whole top of the piece so that I would have stitches in each portal, and now I'm going backwards from 6 to 1 so that I'm stitching at a minimum of 1,000 stitches a month on each portal. So this is portal 4. So for portal 4, I, as I mentioned, have done 1,044 stitches this month on it. And as you'll see, there's a little bit here, but because my big roll of fabric wants to keep floating on the top of that, I ended up starting and working over here. And so this is where I was working. So yesterday I was just putting in 500 stitches within this little bit in here, doing 38.42 and 8.23. Lots of blues. So come tomorrow, the 1st of April, we will move on to portal 3. So this will be my starting point for portal 3 as of tomorrow. So portal 3 extends from here to here. Now, there is some stitches that blend here for both portal 4 and 3. So I've tried to do what I think is the 4, and then I'll work on the 3. I'm not sure where I'm going to work when I get this out. I'm likely to stay here, I think, and work my way back across here because it'll be easier, because this middle bit sitting on my frame works really well for me to stitch on it. But yeah, so quite pleased that I got to 0.8% now. So that's really, really good. When I finish portal 3 in April, I will take it off the Q-snap again and we will have a look at the whole thing again. Just leave that like that because that'll be easier than trying to put it back. Okie dokie. So another one you see every month is a long winter's nap. So a long winter's nap is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs, and the artwork is by Dona Gelsinger. So I tend to bring this out around the 25th of every month and try and put in a couple of hundred stitches. I do have a goal for 1,000 stitches a month on this, but at the moment I haven't managed to get myself organised to do that. This is stitched on 28 count Lugana Easy Guide 1/1 full cross with DMC. The chart size is 400 wide by 314 high for a total of 125,600 stitches. You saw this at the beginning of the month, which was when I did my February stitches. And at that point I was sitting at 7,400 stitches in total for 5.89%. I have a goal on this to get it to 15% this year. I did 407 stitches over in the last week, and I'm now sitting at 1,000. What have I done? Yes, So 407 for the month and 1,789 stitches for the year. But in total, I have now completed 7,807 stitches and we are sitting at 6.22%. So to get to my 15% goal, though, I've still got to get another 11,000 stitches. So yeah, I need to really work very hard on this. But we have a plan at some point to bring this out, probably in July, for a bit more work. So where I worked on this time round was a little bit interesting. So I did do a little tiny bit of work in here, but mainly I came over here. And I used this for orange for the Whip Warriors week 4 challenge for lions versus lambs. So I did a lot of that. I also had a bit of a think when I had this out the other day. So what I have decided to do is, because I'm getting a bit bogged down in here, which is the mantelpiece, and it's just like, oh, I've sort of like, that's why I went to the garland little bow, because I needed a break from the colours. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come across here. So that's why I've got a row. So I have decided, ooh, bit of fluff. So I had a count across, and I think from memory, right across to the other side of my Q-snap, if I move it slightly, I will get the last 2 or 3 columns, which will be the whole width of the project. So I am now going to work this row by row, going all the way across, sort of in the typewriter method from Stitching Mummy, where I choose a symbol and work it across till the thread runs out, or move it down into the next row if I need to, and then pick the next symbol and keep working across. And that's what I did for here. So you will see I have gone down a bit into that row, but that's because that's where the thread went. So it's a sort of a modified version of the typewriter method, but I thought I'd give that a go for this because it does make sense. If I can get this in the whole width of my Q-snap and just move this across, because I am not going to come back to this side for quite some time. So I can have this right up against the edge of my Q-snap, which means the whole width will be the other side. So it will be interesting to see how far I get before I change my mind on that. But yeah, I like that idea. So that's where that's at so far. No, I won't try and put that back in there either. Put that there. Right. So the next one I bought out. So this is one I have not worked on at all this year. I keep promising I'm going to work on it because it is one of the ones that was on my wheel for temperature stitching for the whips that don't, the full coverage whips that don't get used very often or don't get seen very often. So I thought I better do some stitches on this so that I can knock those stitches off that I needed for the February temperature. I also wanted to use this for a challenge. I used it for Down Under Divas, and I also used it for Whip Warriors had a birthday challenge for a couple of their modmins, so I used it for that as well because I needed, it was a colour challenge. So this is Mini Paris Morning, and it is a Heaven and Earth Designs chart. And let me just fold that so I can have it all in the screen at the same time. So it is a Heaven and Earth Designs charting. The artist is Uliana Babenko. So this is the mini version. I'm really pleased I'm doing the mini version. I've seen Anne, the Max Color Stitcher, she's doing the full version, and I've had enough of that blue. So I'm glad I'm doing the mini and not the full, because I really couldn't cope with any more of that sky, which is why I did pink, and I needed pink for the challenge anyway. So this is stitched on 25 count Easy Guide 1/1 full cross. I started this on the 17th of December 2023, and it is 243 wide by 325 high for a total of 78,975 stitches. You have not seen this at all this year. I may have shown it when I did like a starting point. I can't remember now if I may have shown it like a starting point in one of my videos. But I managed to do 506 stitches this week. which means that for the month it was 506 and for the year it's 506. So we're now sitting in total at 13,132 stitches, or 16.63%. My goal for 2026 is 25%. So all I need to do is 500 stitches a month to get that done. And I've only got about just over 6,500 stitches to do to finish that goal for the year. So this will come out probably for 1,000 stitch blocks over the next few months. And as I mentioned, I really only worked in, I did do some of that, but I mainly did the pink. So this is where it's at now. So I'm very pleased that I at least got to 16%. So that's cool. But at the moment, it's not slated to come out for anything. I don't think I've got it in anything for April. But I will need to bring it out again, obviously, at some point during the year. Right. So that's all of the full coverage for now. We do have some more full coverage in a minute, but that's all for now. So as I mentioned, I've had no new starts or finishes for the week, which is probably good. So now I'm going to move into the stitching game / non-full coverage stuff that I've worked on. This particular whip though was in a stitching game. I finished the stitching game information stitches, whatever is the word I'm looking for, and I had to bring this out for a challenge. So this is Proverbs 3 and 4. Now I was working on this for the artist is Paulo Gattiblu. One day I will get the right angle to get that. So I'm working on this one, and I had this set for Down Under Divas E for X for the month. So I needed to get my 500 stitches in, which I did. So I'm really pleased to say that I completed that challenge. In fact, I've done really well for Down Under Divas this month. I've done really well. That's been my main challenge focus, that and Full Coverage Fanatics, which I've not done so well with. So this Proverbs 3 and 4, I started on the 14th of May 2018, and it is stitched on 28 count even weave, which I tea coffee dyed. It was just a boring old greyish colour, so I tea coffee dyed it. When you saw this, which was last week, I was sitting at, in total stitched 648 stitches. I put in another 199. Yes, I did try to get it to 200, but to do that, I would have had to start somewhere completely different. So I decided not to. I thought 199 we'll just have to do for the week. In total for this month, I've stitched 544, which is what I needed to complete the goal for the challenge that I was doing. And I have stitched 757 stitches this year, and we're now sitting at 847 stitches in total. And all I did was, I can fold it a little bit smaller, is finish the cat and did his ears. So I did his head. I finished off that little pink bit, finished the cat with his eyes and his nose, and then I've done all of this, which is the nest it's sitting on. So this is all DMC, and this bit here, which when I get back to it I will be finishing off the wording, is done in Jodery Designs Blue Moon. So yes, so I would like to finish this year. So there's not really a huge amount to do. So now I've done that, all I've got to do is finish the wording. I've got one more little paw print and come down here, do the cats in the egg and do that bit there, and there's a little bit of a border there, and that's it. So this will come out again later in the year. It may even come out this month because the designer name surname starts in a G, and Down Under Divas is G's. So I may bring this out to do that. I may do. I hadn't actually thought about that, but I might do that because if I can do that, I'll probably get close to finishing that. Might do that. Okay, so my stitching games. I need to get my iPad for this. I don't know if this is even going to work. So what I've decided to do, instead of telling you all the time, I'm working on this, this is old, this is... I have decided I am going to combine my ashes, my sewing bee and my bake-off stitches all on a wheel. That wheel I will spin here on my video, and then that whip will come out for 500 stitches for that week. Maybe, hopefully. That's what I'm thinking. Now, if the outstanding stitches from those games is less than 500, I will decide at the time, if I get the stitches done, whether to continue for the 500 or do another spin. Okay, sorry, back again. Right, and so as I mentioned, I'm going to spin the wheel. So this is my wheel that has got everything on. You're going to have a glare of the ring light. Oh well, it's not going to, I'll try and do it this way. So I have put, I didn't put Seagull and World Travel Bookshelf on, but that's okay. So this is basically the wheel for Sewing Bee and Bake Off. So all the whips I have not yet completed stitches on. Having said that, Mistress of the Hunt, I have worked on that this week, and you'll see that in a minute. So if that comes up when I do this spin, all well and good. If it doesn't, it doesn't matter because I can take it off the wheel later on. So we're going to, if I get this right, hopefully, hit the spin and see what we get. Be well drawn thread. So obviously I don't have that with me, so I'm going to pause now, and I should have got that a second ago, but I'll do it right now. It's actually quite funny because I picked this up before and I went, oh, wonder if this will come up. So this is Be Well by the Drawn Thread. This was one of the charts that a number of designers back in whenever it was it 2020 for COVID? I think it was. They did them, it's like the Be Well movement, and I've got 4 of them started in total. I have worked on the other Be Well, but this one is the drawn thread one. So that's what that will look like. And this will be my starting point for the week. It is just stitched on a very nondescript, plain, even weave, and that will be my start. So I haven't, as you can see, got very many stitches in it at all. Not a lot, probably not even 100. And the wording, the lettering, I'm stitching in a hand-dyed Jodery Designs limited edition green dragon, which is this thread here. So just greens and blues. So that's all I had planned on doing, all the wording in that. And then the rest of it will be just the DMC. There's a little bit of glare on it, so I'll probably put up a proper picture anyway. So that will now stay out because it's going to need a few stitches in it. Now this Be Well was in my Sewing Bee, and it needed 400 stitches outstanding for Sewing Bee. So as I mentioned, if I get to the 400 and I want to keep going for the 500, I will. If not, I'll just leave it. And given that that's got 400 stitches, I probably won't redraw for the next one. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, obviously the old ashes stuff, I'm still going to try and work on. World Travel Bookshelf, I'm chipping away at, and we'll work out what we're going to do with those. I did think about putting that on the wheel, but I still want to just chip away at them anyway. But having said that, I did work on Mistress of the Hunt this week. Now, Mistress of the Hunt was for Sewing Bee, and I have now almost completed the stitches required that were outstanding for Sewing Bee. So we'll sort that one out at probably today or tomorrow, because I want to knock them off really quickly. So Mistress of the Hunt 2 is charted by the Sewing Shop. The artist is Heather Kramer. I started this on the 1st of January 2025. That's not right. That's not right. Just bear with. I knew that was wrong. 24th of December 2022 I started this. Stitched on 25 count easy guide 1/1 full cross with DMC. It is 451 wide by 450 high for a total of 202,950 stitches. You've not seen this at all this year because this is the first time I worked on it. It was, when I started, before I started working on it the other day, sitting in total 7,941 stitches, or 3.91%. I've added in another 217 stitches, which I did over here. I'll do it on this side. So this is the full thing, if you can see that. And you can see when I've started this, I was doing it basically 2 rows across. And then I got to this bit here, and I remember I pulled it out last year for some challenge work. So I basically started to do the pig's head and over to here, which means I'm no longer working in my rows that I was doing. Yeah, I'm going to get back to them, because what I want to do now is, now I'm here, there's a page break around about here. But I want to now start working my way back and bring this back again with rows, because if I can bring this in my rows and I move my Q-snap again, the halfway point is about here. So I'm just over halfway. So I want to get back to get the rows down to about here, and then I can do the other half. I think that's how I'm going to work it. But anyway, back to what I worked on. So I did 217 stitches. I think I worked on this yesterday. I don't remember. So I'm now sitting at 8,158 stitches in total at 4.02%. And my goal for this is 8% for the year. And what did I do? Basically, I've just worked in the bird. So I've just been filling in and bringing the bird down. So this is another Q-snap that's a little bit wide, because it's a 17-inch wide. So when it's for the video, it makes it a little bit hard. But yes, so that's all I did just in here. But I started working on this, and I'm like, oh, why do I not work on this all the time? I love this. So I might have to see this a bit more. I might have to work out a way to bring this into my plans for a bit more. Now, very quickly, we're going to run through temperature stitching, and then we'll move on to plans. So temperature stitching is an original, my version is based on an original idea by Siska Stitches, where you choose the temperatures and put that against your whips, and then based on temperatures, actual, projected, however you want to work it, you work on those whips. Mine is closer to what Jen the Caffeinator Crafter does, where she's chosen categories and allocated a number of stitches to the categories. Every month I change my whips for my 4 categories. So my 4 categories are mini kits and freebies, which is a bunch of little tiny ones that I started in 2015, 2016, 2017. And I used to do crazy January starts and all of that sort of stuff when I had my blog. I have a full coverage focus, which is a whip that hasn't had a lot of attention. So I put that on a wheel, and then I spin that every month. I also use a Christmas Orney New Start, which is based on the monthly whips or starts that were chosen in our JCS Stitch Along group on Facebook, which is based on the Just Cross Stitch annual Christmas publication. So working on 12 designs that were chosen by poll at the end of last year after the magazine came out, and then each month it's a different one to work on and start. And then I have another wheel which has got half a dozen whips on it, and I call them I haven't touched in years one. So I have completed everything I needed to for January and February. That mini Paris Morning was completing all my February ones. March, I have completed the mini kits and freebies category. I have almost completed the stitches required for World Travel Bookshelf, which was my full coverage for March. Santa's Helper was supposed to be started in March. That didn't happen, so I will do that now in February. And Rococo Ladies, I didn't get to, so I will need to work on them this month as well. So the April whips are mini kits and freebies, Roses and Gypsophilia. So I did pull that out so I can quickly show that. It's a little mini card that came from the Cross Stitch Collection October 1997. I started on the 20th of January 2016, and this is all I got done. So it's stitched on 16 count Eder called parchment with the DMC that came from in the kit. So this would like to be finished. If I can get this finished this month, I'll be really happy. There's only like about 70 odd stitches in that, and with that it was also came with like these willow pattern cards that once you've stitched it you can put it in there and you can give it to somebody. So that is my mini kits and freebies one. The full coverage focus for the month of April that we all chose was Sonura. So I will just put up the picture of what Sonura looks like. That's a Heaven and Earth Designs chart, and the artist is Jasmine Beckett Griffith. The Christmas Orny New Start is the North Pole Penguin, which is this cute little penguin. Guess what? He will be started because I can start and finish him hopefully in April because it's little. So again, I'll put the picture up of that one. And then, haven't touched in years, the wheel chose for me the Paula Vaughan porch swing. Now, I literally have not touched this in years. And that's not it. This is it. So this is the porch swing. It's not the best photo of it. And so hopefully what I'll do is I think I've got a photo, but I'll try and take a better photo of it. Unfortunately, it's in this book, which I don't want to break the spine of. So yeah, it is what it is. So it's the Best of Paula Vaughan book 2, which has got a number of lovely, lovely quilt designs and charts and stuff. Unfortunately, there's nothing in here that shows you just the actual main what's in here, but there's lots of them. It's lovely. It's really, really gorgeous. This will be my starting point. I can't remember how many stitches I've got done on this. I seem to recall I've shown this like at the beginning when I was talking about temperature stitching. I seem to recall, but this will be my starting point. As you can see, I haven't got a huge amount, but I've got some. Now, this background is half stitch. That's why I've got a pin in it, because I need to do that for my counting, because half stitch, I'm not coming back. So I can't do a half stitch and a full to do my 10 like I would normally do. This is stitched on 28 count Opal Brittany Year of the Rooster from Jodery Designs. And I started it on the 26th of March 2017. So I'd really, really, really like to get some work in this. If I bring it back, you can see it's a very sort of pale yellow, very, very pale yellow with some grey tones and a bit of mottling. So yeah, that one I would like to bring out and get some stitches into it. But we'll see what happens. So that, so far for the temperatures for starting tomorrow, which is the 1st of April, I think, we have got 22 tomorrow, 27, 28, 24, 23 and 24. So autumn is here. So we've got a warmish day, but looks like autumn's hit. Certainly after this last week when we had some rain, I think autumn's here. So Gypsy's Roses and Gypsophilia already needs 100. Sonura already needs 50. North Pole Penguin already needs 50. And Porch Swing already needs 100. So the way I do it is I pick projected temperatures. I take the last digit and I do 50 stitches for each time that digit is drawn for my categories. And my categories, 2 of them have got 3 numbers and 2 of them have got 2 numbers. So that's why there's some are 100 and some are 50. So yeah, so that's my temperature stitching, very briefly. So I've also got to obviously try and work on Rococo Ladies at some point. Now, Whipco. So the March draw, I didn't touch Bookshelf by Little House Needleworks, so what else is new, right? The April draw has now come out, and 3 numbers were drawn for April because 13 was drawn, which is the free space. So whenever Jessie Marie gets the 13, she does another one to replace that, because a lot of us have that as a free space and just leave that blank. So 14 was also drawn, and on my Whipco board, as you'll see when I have that up, I have a new coverage, a new start for a full coverage. So yeah, I am going to have a go. I don't know what one I'm going to start, but we're going to do that. And also Quarantine Cats came up for number 6. And that goal for the year is to increase it to 10%. So I might see if I can pull Quarantine Cats out at some point and start do some work on it. Now, we're not going to talk about that. Right. We're going to move on to my 2026 stitching log. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Because Semi-Sane Stitches is running a challenge for the year called their Stitching 2026 Stitching Log, and you could do all sorts of different things. My choice was to take the number of stitches I stitch for the month and do 10% on a brand new start. And that is then the project I'm working on for the year for this. My choice was a chart called Frigg, which is from the Shooting Star collection by Carolyn. I started it on the 8th of February 2026, and I'm stitching it on 28 count Opal Brittany Texas Blue Bonnets. It's 191 wide by 191 wide for a total of 36,481 stitches. You saw this last week, and at that point I was sitting at 2,355 stitches, or 6.46% in total. I put in a wonderful 1,145 stitches this week, and I have now done 2,003 stitches for the month, which was more than I required for February's goal of 1,638 stitches. But I put this in my Down Under Divas March challenge for 2,000 stitches, so I wanted to get 2,000 stitches done on it. I have now in total stitched 3,500 stitches on this design for the year, and I'm sitting at 9.59%. So yeah, so the goal really is based on the stitches, so I haven't got a specific goal for the year. So this is it now. This is where it is. Isn't it so beautiful? Love it. As you'll see, I started off doing diagonally, and then in the last couple of stitching sessions, I'm now choosing a colour and filling it in full as best I can, but still sticking to diagonal. I've started to bring the border down again on this side, and I need to come back up here and do the border again for that. But yes, this is it. Oh, I just love it. I love it. Isn't it just adorable? So this is the full of the fabric, but obviously I'm not going to fill the fabric because I'm doing it 1/1. But yeah, I just love this. The colour, yes, I know the colours are sort of dull, but they just look stunning as well. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. So very, very happy that I got the right number of stitches done for the month of March, for February, sorry. Now for March, I'm going to try and do another 2,000 stitches if I can. I'm not going to hold myself to it, but I will need at least 1,800 stitches based on where my numbers are at as of today. But we'll see how we go. So also with semi-sane, I've almost completed the rainbow connection. I just need to do yellow, which I'm going to plan to do on World Travel Bookshelf today. I completed the green challenge. It ain't easy being green. And I've got to work on in April my spring rolls, which is my start to finish self for spring for semi-sane stitches. For daily 30, I completed the challenge of the daffodils for the monthly acrostic, and I'm waiting now for the April one to come out so that I can work out my plans for that one. And the monthly smalls challenge, I did complete 2 of the prompts for that, which was really good. And we'll just work out with the next month or for the April one where I'm going to go. Now, full coverage bingo, full coverage fanatics bingo. I did manage to only get 4 boxes filled, so I'll put my card up for that. So that was doing 1,000 stitches on my whips, and yeah, so didn't quite achieve what I want to do. I have got the draw ready for April's bingo, and what I've done, if this works out, is I've tried to do a little graphic which I'm going to put up because as usual I have lots of plans of how I'm going to do it. I'm just not sure yet where I'm going to focus. So this is some of my thinking. You'll see when I bring the graphic up, but that will depend on a couple of other challenges yet. So I'll finalize that and talk about that next week. The Whip Warriors Stitch and Seek, I completed all 10 of those. Mistress of the Hunt I used for the rainbow because see the little unicorn here? He's pooping a rainbow. So that's why I had to get 200 stitches in Mistress of the Hunt yesterday to make sure I got that challenge finished for the month. We haven't got the next one out yet for April. And Down Under Divas. So Down Under Divas, I'm this far from finishing my March alphabet challenge. All I've got to do is a couple of 100 stitches on World Travel Bookshelf today, and then I would have completely completed every single prompt, which is the first time I've ever done that. I really focused on that this month and made sure I used the free pass and used my penalty, which is Fairytale, to fill in the gaps. So don't know why I've never done that before, but I am doing it this time around. Last week, the deck of whips was Fairytale, and that was a spade. Now this week, the 8 of clubs was drawn. Now my whip for the clubs is a brush with magic, so I need to bring a brush with magic out this week for 500 stitches. So that's part of my weekly plans. I have also started filling in the blanks for the Down Under Divas monthly for April, which is going to be G and H. So if that works, you'll see a graphic of that. Maybe I may get that up today. There's a couple I'm still fiddling around with, so I may just talk about that next week rather than preempt anything. So pretty much that's every whip that I have to show you. So we're going to very briefly talk about what I'm doing next week, and then I will let you go. So obviously I will be working on the HAED sale 2026 for Fairytale every day for about 100 stitches. I'm going to try and bring Wine Shelf out as much as I can to get some work on that. Flamingo and Flowers will come out on Friday again for a minimum of 250 stitches. We haven't yet received the sign up post for the April Stitches So Beautiful sale, so I'm not sure yet what that picture is going to be. If that comes up while I'm editing, which it might do because it's usually around the last day of the month that it pops up. So if I see that while I'm editing, I will put a picture up so you'll see what the chart will be for April, but if not, we'll talk about it next week anyway. 6 portals I would like to try and bring out on Sunday and get some work done on that. We'll see how we go. That gets bumped for other things, unfortunately, but I'm going to try and get a minimum of 1,000 stitches in. Now, I ordered from Gus's Creations a table stand, like my big floor stand that I have, that I use when I'm sitting over there on the couch. Now, if looking at the tracking, that should be in our post box today or tomorrow. I haven't got a notification that it's there today, so I'd say I'll be there tomorrow. That is going to be amazing, because that I will set up in my study area, and I will put, the idea is to put 6 portals on it, and then first thing in the morning I will try and do at least 100 stitches or half an hour on it every day. That's the plan. I don't know if that's going to work, but that's the plan. I thought if I have it permanently set up, I can just pop in there first thing in the morning when I get up, do a quick half an hour. So there'll be a minimum of half an hour, maybe more. So if I get out 50 stitches, great. If I get time to do a bit more, then I will, but at least that's the plan. So Frigg, I also need to obviously bring out and start working on towards whatever the goal is going to be. Now, whether I get to that this week or not, I'm not sure. I also need to make sure Spring Rolls is out quite regularly over the next month, because I need to finish that by the end of May. What else are we going to do? I will try and bring Rococo Ladies out if I can, and start working on that for what I needed to do for a March temperature stitching. We've done the wheel spin, so that'll be the drawn thread, so I need to sort of work on that. Sewing bee, I just want to finish off Mistress of the Hunt before I actually work on the drawn thread one. So once I've done that, it'll be good. Now, the other thing, Jen, the Caffeinated Crafter, is not doing Bake Off now, season 6. I was going to follow along with her Bake Off, but due to other commitments and stuff, she's decided to not do season 6 starting in April, so that's fine. That's actually good, because it means I can catch up on some of these other whips, and then when she restarts, I will set up my whips and follow along with her for her older Bake Off series stitching that she's doing. But Carla from Carla's Stitching Journey is playing Stitchopoly. So she has the board game Stitchopoly, and every week she's going to play around, so you can play along with her. She will give us what the relevant stitches are for each of the tokens. You can just choose a token, or you can have 2 tokens, and you can choose however many whips you want to do. You can choose whips per tokens, whatever. My choice for now is 4 whips. That's 4. 4 whips for 1 token. And I'm going to do sides, so the 4 whips for the 4 sides, and the whips will be at the HAED Sale 2025 Deskins, Story Keep A Brush with Magic, Winter Welcome, and Wine Shelf. So all 4 of those I need to get some work into. So I'm hoping that by doing a round of Stitchopoly, depending on where my token, and I'm not sure which one I want to take yet. I'm sort of thinking I might do the DMC thread cutter. So depending on where that is and how many stitches it is and what it sits on, that I'll try and do that on a weekly basis as well. So let's play that by ear. I also, if I get a chance to, I probably won't, I would like to try and either start Santa's Helper or the North Pole Penguin in the next week or so. So yeah, so that's it. So a lot there. And I've now got the dog giving me glaring eyes because it's way past her lunchtime, because I was late starting this today. So I'm going to go feed the dog and have lunch myself, edit the video, get it up and start stitching. So I think that's pretty much it. So I'm going to say bye. I'm going to say thank you very much for coming along and visiting with me again today and listening to my rambling and taking a frolic through my whips with me. I hope you enjoyed seeing my whips. I hope you don't get overwhelmed by what I say I'm going to stitch, because I'm trying not to get overwhelmed by what I say I'm going to stitch this week. But it'll all be good. I'm sure it'll be fine. We'll just do what we can do. Now, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. It would be really lovely to have that, and you can come back and be notified whenever I do a new video, which I try to do every week. But thank you anyway for those who have come along and spent their time with me today. Thank you for liking, commenting and subscribing. I very much appreciate you taking the time and spending that time with me. I shall see you again next week. So in the meantime, happy stitching, stay safe and take care. Talk to you later. See ya.